Got rage smashed.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Old School Wrestling Real to Real. Today I'm going to be sitting down with the handler of Red Wing, and you can see him there on the screen. That's Chris. Before I invite him into the chat and start the interview, I would just like to draw some attention to the intro video. I'm sure many of you have seen it many times, but there's a line in there called "Lemon, Lemon on a Pear," which is it belongs to Chris, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But just a bit of pre-roasting before we get there. Forever in our memories is that day. I remember where I was working at the time. Fantastic. Okay, right. So let's get into the chat. Hello, Chris. How's it going, buddy? So, lemon on a pear. Let's start there, shall we? Do you remember? I think it was like an Audi or a Lidl advert. Oh, it's started already with the barely can hear you. Hang on. I'm gonna have to put you up to 200 and see if it does it. Let's see. Go on then, Chris. Give us the alphabet and see if everybody can hear you. Okay. How you going, guys? Can you hear that? Unfortunately, Chris's mic isn't with him at the moment. RIP microphone. They can't seem to hear you, which is odd. Let me think. All right, the best way to do this might be you would probably end up with a phone. Could you potentially have a phone to your ear for an hour? Would that be something you could do at work? All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and call you, and if I call you from a voice chat, and you speak on your phone like you normally would, I might be able to get a better volume from you. Okay? So you'd answer like a normal call. So give me a second, I'll give you a call. Hang on. Alright, guys. We'll see what we can do to see if we can get Chris. I can hear him fine. I don't know. Oh, okay. That'll be why. Hang on. Chris, are you still there? Yeah, I'm still here. Okay. Can you hear Chris now, guys? Give us some alphabet, Chris. You do know the alphabet, don't you? Okay. Well, I've turned you up in hopes that my volume was way down. Okay, what about now, guys? I've literally turned my Discord up. I've turned my Discord on my game bar up. I've turned my volume on my headset up. Chris, give us some alphabet. Well, we don't want you shouting. You don't want to get fired. Let's just see what people come back with on that. Still really faint. Okay, right, I'm gonna try the call thing, mate. Leave the chit chat area that we're in now, and I'll call you. That's louder on my end. Hopefully it's louder for everyone else because you're speaking to it as you would on a phone call. It should come through louder in theory. So we're getting somewhat better as I'm not sure. As long as you're speaking into the phone like you'd be speaking on a phone call, you'd think it would be okay. Because everything's up my end, so I'm not sure if Matt's trolling, so I'm gonna ignore Matt for the minute. Lena, where are you? Are you here? Okay, no, mate says it's still the same too. You never know with Matt, do you? He could be trolling. Okay. So for some reason that's not working. Right, give me a second. Can somebody hop into the chit chat section of the thingy with me? And we'll see if we can hear you on the stream okay. If someone's got a second and a microphone, they can pop in. If they hear you okay, then I know it's not an issue on my end that I need to somehow resolve. Just waiting to see if somebody else can come in, Chris. I think Alex Smiley is going to come in and see if we can hear him okay. If we can hear him okay, then it's not my end. That's what we're going to check. Hey, Alex. Right. So put your volume up because I put you down the last time we were in here, so we're on 100. And here comes Rob as well. So we've got a group going on right now. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Alex. So can anybody hear Alex okay? Give us some alphabet, Alex. Okay, so for some reason it's my Discord is what's the problem tonight. For some reason. So I think the best thing I can do is reset my Discord perhaps and see what happens there. Okay, guys. So what I'm going to do, check a few settings. Because I was streaming earlier and everybody could hear me fine, okay? And you can hear me fine now. All my inputs and outputs are correct. It appears to be Discord. Oh, hang on. I'm a fucking idiot. Has Chris gone? Because I think I've just figured out the problem. Chris, are you there? Chris?
Yep.
I think they should be able to hear you fine now.
Hey there, can you guys hear me out there?
I'm pretty sure I know what I fucked up on.
I hear you.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, whoever Will of Derp says yeah.
That would be Michael Miller. That'd be Lee.
Oh, the new guy. Okay.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so what I actually fucked up on is that I had my desktop audio turned off. So every time you spoke, it was muted on my desktop, so it wasn't coming through properly. So I think they were just hearing the remnants of what you were saying as if I was hearing it, sort of like ambient noise. So that's my fault. We've just spent a good how many minutes have we been? Someone give me some uptime. How long have we just spent fixing this fucking mic stuff? I blame Chris.
Looks like about 10 minutes.
I blame Chris.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. No longer blaming Chris. I haven't actually got I don't think I've even got my correct stuff. So I'm really not on a good run because I actually created an overlay for this. With all of our thingy on, and I missed one off, and I created a new one today, with that overlay on it, and I didn't actually add it, which is kind of frustrating. So what I'm going to do, Chris, is I'm going to ask you a question, and as that's going, I'm going to fix my overlay issue. How does that sound?
That sounds good by me.
Okay, buddy. So tell us how you got started in the game of eFedding. How did you get started?
Way back in 2004, a high school buddy of mine found out I liked wrestling and introduced me to an eFed that he ran, and it was one of those mixed ones where you had real wrestlers and eFed wrestlers or created wrestlers, and I had my own guy. At the time, he was named Pyro, and he eventually got the name eventually morphed into Chris Pyro, and I was with that group. The site, we went by several different names. We first started off as MXW, became EWE, GCW, and back to EWE. and it was basically just WWE by a different name. And I was with them for 4 years, and I got a girlfriend, and the site was dying, so I kind of just...
It all goes downhill from the girlfriend, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, the site was dying a bit to begin with,
Yeah.
and then the girlfriend came along, and I just had no interest at that point in role playing.
Well, why would you? There's pussy.
Yeah. Yes. And we were together for a year. She broke up with me,
Ooh.
and and not because of bats, funny enough.
Not for your weird obsession with bats.
I actually didn't have that obsession at the time.
Did it drive you to that obsession?
Yes.
Is that what drove you to your bat obsession?
No, at first it was anime, and then it was Batman.
As long as it wasn't furry, I think we can all agree we're okay with that.
And so about a month after we broke up, another buddy of mine, who I brought into the hobby, was like, "Well, let's go find a new EFED," and that's where I came into EVPW, where I met Hayden.
Yeah,
was their same character. Is Chris Pyro. Me and him were a tag team for a while, and then just growing up, everyone kind of got different hobbies, and the site kind of fell apart. Especially after one of the guys running it passed away suddenly, and it kind of sucked the soul out of the place.
Yeah, I think it has historically in EFEDs it can tend to do that when someone passes away. I think especially if they're the Fed head or a co-runner or even someone very popular, it can suck the soul out of a place. So when you met Hayden, where was that?
That was at EVPW.
Did when you found OSW, I know it was through Hayden, because I remember Hayden said he's got a friend coming in. I've known Hayden for a very long time through IWF into OSW, and he said he's got a friend coming in. Was that a case of he posted on the boards, or you guys just connected again? How did that work out?
We had a basically non-existent Facebook group for EVPW, and he had posted in there almost a year before I joined, talking about OSW. And at that point, I'd been working security, and I was at a full-time site where I was on night shift with no internet access.
Mm.
So I was interested, but I just didn't have the access to participate. Yes, Sammy, you can blame Hayden.
Yeah, we can blame Hayden. Although we'd be blaming Hayden for a character that's been around probably as long, if not longer, than Brent Kirsch. I think we sort of
half the amount of time. I believe, if my math is correct, if I carry Red Wing to the end of Volume 2, I would be tying Kirsch.
That's quite an accomplishment, really, from someone who was here from day one. That's quite special when you think about it. And yeah, I mean, he survived Volume 1 into Volume 2. Red Wing, one of the very few characters that did. Do you think that was because there was no way you wanted to give him up? Do you think at that point, we'll get more into the Batman similarities later, but do you think in many ways, when Volume 1 ended, in your mind, there was still a lot more Red Wing to play?
Oh, I definitely wanted to play Red Wing more. I trusted you guys with the stories enough that if you guys had enough juice to continue writing Red Wing creatively, I had more than enough juice to carry him on as a character.
So when you joined OSW, crikey, how many years ago now would you say that would be?
Just over 3 years now.
Ooh. So when you came in to OSW the first time, you were Michael Graves.
Yep.
which is another Bat style character, had
Yeah.
it didn't. Michael Graves was an interesting character, but he wasn't easy for you to write as. I think in the OSW style. And he had a good run and some good stories. Did
Yeah.
you did you wish you came in with a more Red Wing style character when you started, or were you happy with your evolution from a Michael Graves style character to a Red Wing
I
character?
think I think Michael Graves had a lot of potential, but I just really underestimated the writing style.
Hmm.
And I do wish I came in with a simpler character, but I think without that learning curve of trying to sort it out with Michael Graves and then jumping over to Red Wing, I don't think I would have ended up sticking around without that learning curve. If that makes sense.
It's a tough learning curve, and I think it's part of I tried to explain to a lot of people that the learning curve in terms of promo is a part of what should want you to stay, because it's a challenge that should every week. I don't think there's a point, and I don't think there's a person on the roster. I think if they said that they did, they'd be lying. But I don't think there's a person on the roster who finds it easy from week to week. I don't care who it is. I think from week to
I would
week,
think of them as a liar.
everybody has to look at that and think, holy fuck, what am I going to do? And then they have to work hard to put something out. And it's a challenge for everyone. I don't care if you're Edward Newton and you've gone 75-0. At the end of the day, I guarantee you, every single week, he was scratching his head, making sure he was writing perfection.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
There's no way you just jump into this and take off.
No, and nobody on this roster thinks it's easy, and it doesn't matter if you're Mike Lane and you've been, you've had like more world championships than I've had hot dinners. It doesn't matter if you're a badass like Mike Lane or a badass like Edward Newton or Mel or if you're just coming into it. Nobody finds it easy. Everybody every week has to think hard about what they're doing. Gimmick makes it easier, and I'm sure there's questions on this, and I'm not going to go into it too much before we get to the questions, but I'm certain that in many ways, the gimmick of Red Wing relating to Batman as it has given you a lot more lens to look through than someone like Michael Graves.
Yeah, definitely. It's like writing the detective stories in the promos with him. So that gave me an avenue where it was a lot easier to dig in every week. Still hard, but it was an easier route.
Yeah, I think Graves threw up more obstacles than he did give you solutions. I think made it harder than it should have been, because it's always hard for everybody. I don't think it's easy for anybody, but at the same time, there's that level of difficulty. The more gimmick you have behind the character, the more you have to say, the more you can create a theme. And in recent times, with a lot of new handlers, I've actually been speaking about role plays. And I've been pointing them to a promo that Mike Lane did recently as Luke Storm in relation to Ash Williams being a Dodge Charger. I'm not sure if you read that.
No, I'm actually kind of bad. I only tend to read my opponent's role plays for the week.
See, in my opinion, you can't improve as a writer in OSW unless you read the top 5 at minimum, even if you don't read everyone else's, which I would advise you do. Haha, I said do. I would.
We're mature adults here.
Of course we are. I would always read the top 5. But if you want to get better, and if you're someone on this roster and you want to be champion, world champion, OSW champion, you want to be the top, and that matters to you, read everything. Read everyone and read everything. Yeah. And the thing is, you missed that role play then, that Luke Storm wrote against Ash Williams about the Dodge Charger. It was a perfect example of a simple promo. It didn't relate to Luke Storm's acting gimmick or his Tempest gimmick. It was very simple, and it was... And Voynich, the reason why Voynich is so successful as well, because he does that too. He picks up things that are simple, that aren't, stupidly elaborate. And don't get me wrong, stupidly elaborate sometimes are really, really good if they're well done. They're game breakers. They're amazing. But in many ways, the simple promo is the way forward. So you don't always have to be a detective.
Yeah. I try and keep that in mind, and it's a bit of a bad habit from the old days.
I think if I were you, I would definitely consider reading the top 5 on a weekly basis as a part of your reading, um,
Yeah.
just to give you some ideas, just to help you, see what other people were doing. And there's some good work in there that you might look at and think, hold on a minute, this guy's actually doing this with his promos. I hadn't thought about that. I was looking at it through this lens, but what if I look through this lens? And it could always help. I advise that to
Oh
any
yeah.
new handler, any current handler, anyone on the roster who wants to really nail the style. I would say read the top 5 religiously. Read them all if you can, but read the top 5 especially, and you'll get a lot of ideas. You get a lot of ideas from that. So when it comes to the questions, there is a lot. I think we got more questions today than we had maybe yesterday.
I think that comes from me yelling at people to ask questions.
Well, it took a while for them to get off their ass and ask them. In fairness, so you kind of had a point.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you should have accomplished more as Red Wing so far?
I mean, in the egotistical way, absolutely. But in all honesty, I think for the level that I've been writing, I've achieved what I've deserved with my level and quality of writing.
I think that's a very good way to look at it. I'd also say that storyline wise, you've had some crackers so far. I mean, if you look at the Edward Newton angle, and the Luke Storm angle, the Red Death angle in general, the Blood Shark, holy crap, the angles that Red Wing have had, they go down in legend, in OSW legend, because they are, whether you've accomplished the World Championship, the Double Feature Champion, whatever you may or may not have accomplished, even if you've been a tag champion, or you've been a rewind champion, or you've been one or the other, it doesn't matter. When you think about the storylines and you think about how that's received, Red Wing does go down in OSW lore, doesn't he? Does that mean more to you than potential championship victories or victories in general?
Oh, definitely, because we're a wrestling role playing site. Yeah, it's fun to be the world champion, but you can have a world title and be stuck in horrible stories. I'd rather have fun stories, and the championships come when they do.
I think, to your credit as well, that like people like Alex Cars, for example, it doesn't matter whether you're winning or you're losing as long as you're enjoying the story and the challenge of the promo.
Yeah.
And you've got to be credited as well, because in the chat you're obviously someone who has a lot of banter and a lot of pretend ego for fun. You obviously big it up and you talk the big I am for fun. I remember you telling me one time that those that can't promo Fedhead.
And I learned my lesson from that one.
That was a fun day. But I remember you have these banter things, but you never, to your credit, you never take that seriously. Even though you'll say those things in banter and you'll be like, I'm going to kick your ass, you're losing to me, I'm going to win. You then go ahead and lose. I've never once seen you come in the chat and be like, yeah, that's bullshit. I should have won. Not seriously anyway, maybe jokingly. Which is to your credit.
Life's too short.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about microwaves. We talked about Red Wing. What about the Red Death? Now, I remember when I pitched to you that I was going to do this. What was your immediate reaction and instincts to me turning essentially your personal Batman into a bad guy?
Well, I think I told you when you pitched it to me that I was actually thinking about pitching it to you, turning Red Wing heel. You just beat me to the punch. And you told me that the name came from, and I recognized the name coming from Dark Knight's Metal from DC and all that. So I was game for it the moment you told me, because that was something I wanted to do with Red Wing anyway.
Did you enjoy the Red Death? Do you think it ended when it should have ended, or do you think there's more legs? There was more legs in it.
No. It went a good length. It was Red Death for, close to a year?
Yeah. Yeah.
At least he started to show the signs, and then so he had a good run as a heel. The story was solid with the idea that Edward Newton was manipulating him to get back at his brother. And
Did you enjoy the outcome of those, the matches with Storm and Nigma or Newton? Did you enjoy the finality of those sort of big ending matches? Do you think they were fitting enough for the story?
yeah, because going from the wrestling mind, it would be weird to see this guy who's been haunted by this psychotic wrestler who thinks he's this evil superhero, and him losing to this guy. And everything's, like I said earlier, I trust you guys. So with the way the stories went, everything seemed to work out in a very logical way.
You must have had a lot of love for Jigsaw and Darkwish. Was it Darkwish?
Yeah, Jigsaw and Darkwish.
You must have had a lot of Lena put that together. That was his baby.
Yeah,
I still have the graphic of Red Wing in the fiery building that Lena himself made.
I think I actually saved that on my phone as well.
So yeah, if you need that at some point, let me know, because I think I've got it in big size somewhere, and I've got most of those images. But that was a great story going through the protege. Did you is there any points in those stories, whether it was the Darkwish story, the Jigsaw story, Newton story, Storm story, did you ever not like a direction that your character was taken? Did you ever worry about a direction in which your character was taken?
Not really, because I think I can't remember if I said it in the public chat or in private to Laner, but I was saying, like, at the time Batman was being written by an atrocious writer, and I was saying, like, you should take this stuff to DC because this is just phenomenal. I was enjoying everything. He was writing a better Batman with Red Wing than the writer at DC.
Well, the thing about Mike Lane is he's very good at those stories. Definitely very good at those stories, and I think he has always had a lot of love for the Red Wing character. In fact, I think the first decent poser for Red Wing, which is I think the one we use now, is actually the one he made. I never quite liked mine, and he found the proper outfit and everything for it. And I think he went and bought the proper outfit and everything for it, and sent that to me and sent the poser to me. I think he actually made the. I may have added the red to the costume a bit more, but Lena definitely set that up for you, believe it or not. It was his poser that sort of led the way there. Let's get some questions, and speaking of Lena, we'll jump into him. Not literally, that would be weird. He says,
you would enjoy it though.
Of course, naturally, I always do. Lots of people view Red Wing as a Batman homage, but how closely do you link the two characters in your mind?
Very closely now compared to when I first brought Bill Kirby in. Because Bill Kirby was never designed to be Red Wing at the start. He was just supposed to be me in OSW, a comic book fan who's wrestling.
Mm.
And it was just morphed in. Yeah, those two are very well linked because, I mean, he's wearing Batman's Arkham Knight armor in his poser.
I forgot he was Bill Kirby, actually. I forgot he was Bill Kirby. Cheers, darling. I actually forgot he was Bill Kirby. And the idea wasn't for Bill Kirby to be Red Wing, was it? Not immediately.
That was anyway. The way that I created him.
Yeah. That's kind of funny. I did forget about that. I did. So that's an interesting piece of info. Fucking Bill Kirby. He still had the Bulldog finish, didn't he?
I moved it to a special as one of his special moves, but he does the curb stomp now.
Yeah, of course. So, just looking at a couple of these other questions. What is your favorite Batman comic, individual issue, and storyline arc?
Story arc is easy. It's Batman Hush. If I was to ever sit there and one of you guys say, give me a Batman story to, kind of give me an overview of his world, it would be Batman Hush. You get touchstones from some of his bigger characters, Poison Ivy, Joker, all that stuff, and a whole mystery that is just phenomenally well written. As for single issues, I'm kind of cheating on this. There's 2 of them for 2 entirely different reasons. One is Detective Comics issue 16. It was the first Batman comic I picked up when I was getting into American comics.
Yeah.
So that one has the sentimental value of just being like that first Batman one that I had in hand. And the other one is from the original run, Detective Comics 651. It actually got turned into a Batman the Animated Series episode, basically verbatim. And it's just a really fun story. It's called A Bullet for Bullock. That's the research I had to do because I couldn't remember those issue numbers.
I knew you did some research, and for you to be able to answer these questions so quickly like that, I had a feeling that you did your research. Are there any other... So if you think we've had, obviously, Red Wing is inspired by Batman, and obviously Edward Newton was inspired by the Riddler. I think that's fair to say.
Oh, yeah.
What other... actually, I think Dark Star was inspired by Loba.
Yep.
I know Tommy wasn't him for long before leaving at the time, but there's another one. There's probably others that I'm forgetting. But what other comic? Ooh, we're getting a bit funny. What other comic-inspired characters would you like to see in OSW? And this is a question from Leah Lincoln.
We also had Spiro and Intrepid, which were blue and green lanterns themselves.
I should know that because I created Intrepid, in fairness.
I'd love to see a Spider-Man inspired character, and no idea how you pull that one off.
I actually have a costume for something like that. I do. I have a Spider-Man costume. I actually have that in my dad's program. Looks unique enough that you wouldn't have to necessarily think it to be Spider-Man, but we actually do have one of those, believe it or not.
I know we have Reaper, who is very much like the Punisher.
Reaper is like the Punisher. I disagree that we've had a Thor, because I completely disagree that Troy Solvig was anything like Thor. He did actually turn out to be Loki in the end, but definitely not comic book. I don't think... I might be wrong, maybe Lena can correct me, but I don't think he was necessarily comic book inspired. I think he was more Norse inspired than anything else. I applied the Loki part to the character. I think he was designed to look a bit more like Thor, but I don't think that was I think that was more Thor from Norse mythology than it was Thor from comic books. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
So who other than Spider-Man do you think might make a good character?
A character based off of Doctor Doom would be really interesting.
Dude, now you're talking. So I don't read a lot of comics. Any comics, really, actually. But I know a lot about the characters. Well, I say a lot. Yeah. I know a bit about the characters. And Doctor Doom, when I first saw the Fantastic Four film, I just thought Doctor Doom was a throwaway character. Right? The first ever Fantastic Four, with Michael Chiklis as the thing. I watched it because I'm a big fan of Michael Chiklis, but
you should watch Gotham.
Well, I tried to get into Gotham. I couldn't quite get into it. But
Michael Chiklis shows up in Gotham.
I remember he was in Gotham. I think I tried to watch it because I didn't mind the other guy too that was in the cop show that played one of the characters in there. What's his name? He was in Southland, I think, the cop show. And he was the main character, I think, in Gotham. I think he might have been a young cop. I'm not sure who he was main character wise, but I was going to watch it. I tried, got a few episodes in, but I'm kind of one of these people that prefer to see the main characters of a story. Like, I don't think there's much of a Gotham without Batman.
I mean, I was a sucker for it. It was a neat concept, the Gotham before Batman.
Yeah, I think he did play Jim Gordon. Yeah, I think that's him. Yeah, because he was in was it a fucking teeny show back in the day called The OC or something?
Oh yeah, he was Ben McKenzie.
Yeah, he started in that, and he went into Southland as a cop, which I really liked. Southland, I think it was Southland that was called. It was a good show. Anyway, getting off track, but when I first saw Doctor Doom in that film, I thought he was a nothing character. It wasn't until I started reading more about comic book characters that I realized Doctor Doom is a fucking badass, right?
Yeah, he's a really neat character. I don't read the Fantastic Four cast of characters at all. But yeah, Doctor Doom is one of those ever-present characters.
A powerful character.
Yeah, because he mixes both science and sorcery, and Vex, my old buddy, he's a huge fan of him, and we go back and forth, me and him, taunting each other. And he's gone to hell and defeated the Mephisto, which is Marvel's devil, just to save his mother.
It sounds like your friend should write a Doctor Doom-inspired character for OSW. I'm just saying.
That would be fun.
Just putting that out there. No, my would be like, yeah, my friend is Vex, and he's the one that would write him. So, what character in OSW inspires you, past or present?
It's not so much the characters themselves, but it's the writers, and got to go with Mike Lane and stuff, because he does phenomenal work. Both.
Sorry, that was me making the impression of you sucking him off. Just so you know.
It's not going to be just him. I'm not going to try and pull a Zach here, but then it's like mate. Got to give him a bit of love, because seeing him show up and rise up the way that he did, as quickly as he did, you can't help but be inspired by that.
No, that's very true. I also think, from personal perspective, I think Sammy's quite inspiring recently too.
Yeah.
When you think about someone who maybe wasn't very consistent or around a lot to do what he's done, and winning Wrestle Heroes as well. That's quite
He got lucky there.
Well, you could have done very well there, because at one point I had you right up there on my list of characters that had done well in that event, and then as more promos started rolling in, you dropped down the pecking order a bit, but you really did set a good marker for yourself. Yeah, it's definitely a promo you should go back and read, because it got you into the top.
That was one of my favorites to write.
Who would be your Justice League stable in OSW?
Let me see here.
Did you read?
Obviously. Well, no, I just got to see see all the character names, because I'm horrible with them. Obviously, Red Wing would have to be in there for the Batman.
Ultimo America, maybe.
Yeah, he'd be a fun rookie member. Luke Storm would have to be in the mix somewhere. The Judge as well.
What would you say about Zero or Jesse Williams? Zero, because of his ability to use the internet the way he does. That could make for an interesting character in a story like that. And obviously Jesse has that fighting demons thing on his side.
Yeah, he was another one I was just about to say was Jesse Williams.
Gotta give Zach some love.
Yeah.
So moving on to Tommy, he wants to know, out of Invasion, Rinking, and Pandemonium, which match would you like to win the most, and why?
I'd have to go with Invasion. I just like the idea of being able to just kind of loom over every world title match. And yeah, that just seems like a lot of fun. And plus, that gives me a lot of room to shit talk.
Well, yeah, it would give you a lot of room to shit talk, unless you fucked it up, in which case you'd shit talk yourself into. Here's the thing, right? Is I realized this as I was putting something on Twitter today about it, but in most recent times, Sandman is, I think, the first person in about 3 years to invade successfully. It's
Oh,
been a
yeah.
bit of a poison chalice. Not so much as the Ring of Dreams poison chalice that we all know and love so well. For those of you who don't know that, it's that anyone who has ever won Lambs to the Slaughter, or as it was known as Pandemonium, anyone who has won Lambs to the Slaughter has never, ever in 6 years gone on to beat the champion at Ring of Dreams. It has never happened. We call it the Pandemonium curse.
Yeah.
Matty cries, which makes me smile, because he suffered the curse. But then Mike Lane has suffered the curse as Solomon Rhodes against Tommy Hawk. Red River Jack suffered the curse against Isaiah Black. Bruce Van Chan suffered the curse thanks to Jake Jekyll invading, funnily enough.
Edward Newton.
Yeah, of course. Nigma suffered the curse because he won it, but then he couldn't go on to win either. So there are a lot of people that haven't won Pandemonium, but Invasion in the most recent years has only been won by Sammy because obviously Newton held it and no one could beat him. If you were to win Invasion and you had the contract in the briefcase, it's now up to you to invade. How would you do it? Because I think Invasion is a tactical game. It takes a lot of thinking, in my opinion. How, if you had the Invasion case and you could invade on that champion, and the only rules you knew were that you could do it whenever you wanted, as long as you told me before a single roleplay was posted for that week. What would be your thought process? How would you do it?
Oh, that's a hard question to think about. I didn't have time to research that one.
No, I didn't, because I just thought it up on the spot. That's why. Sorry, bro.
I would just do what I normally do, and I'd just swing. I'd just sit there and I'd watch it. I'd pay much more attention to the champions' role plays over several months, and then I don't know, just when it felt opportune to take a big swing and just hope for the best. Like the Joker says, I'm like a dog chasing a car. I don't know what to do with one if I catch it. I just do it.
You realize that's a roleplay promo idea for you there that I could turn into gold.
Oh, probably.
So, just think about that one when you need a big promo for Pandemonium this year.
Yeah.
So if you could handle another character, past or present, who would it be and why? I'm guessing he's asking if you could handle someone else on the roster right now, who would it be? Or someone on the roster previously, who would it be? What character would you handle if you had to choose someone else's character to be?
I'd have to go with the Reaper. I got into the Punisher fairly recently, and I just think taking my shot as being that kind of very violent street level character would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I pitched Reaper to Grey back in the day based on the Punisher because I liked Punisher. I actually liked I didn't watch a great deal of it, mostly clips, but I liked the portrayal on Netflix of the Punisher.
That was a good show.
I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I liked what's his name from The Walking Dead anyway, so I was always interested.
John Bernthal.
Yeah, I always liked him from that, and he always plays a good character. And I watched a lot of clips, and he was really believable. I thought as as the character. I liked the movie as well. Yeah. To be fair, with what's his name? Is his name Tom? What's his name? Thomas James? Is that it? Thomas something?
Thomas Jane.
Yeah, I liked his portrayal as well back in. I think that had a Kevin Nash cameo in it, didn't it?
Yes, that one had the Kevin Nash cameo.
It did. I remember that. I really liked that film too. That was John Travolta as the bad guy.
I've never actually watched it. I've watched clips of that movie, so I can't remember who the villain was.
I think it was John Travolta, but I'm not sure who he played.
Yeah.
Tempted to look, but I'm sure Zach or someone will find out and let us know. Some other questions we have here. Let's have a look, see what we got. So do you have a favourite character in the past you've handled in previous feds that you think would fit in OSW?
Not really, because my old character, like Chris Pyro, he was made for those kinds of feds where, you created a storyline with someone and you worked together writing promos back and forth or match segments back and forth. I don't think I could roleplay him in OSW without completely changing who he was at that time.
In which case, it's not the same character, is it? I suppose.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the same.
So, Matty wants to know what your dream card is. You got a 5 matches minimum of characters that are no longer active. Could you book a dream card? I would expand on that question and give you characters that are currently active and inactive. So basically, anybody in OSW history, a dream card of 5 matches. Did you research this?
Well, selfishly, I know you said not current characters, but I'd cheat and throw Red Wing in a world title match against Newton in like a real Batman versus Riddler style story.
Cool.
That one just to be selfish.
Yeah, well, it's your interview, mate.
Blood Red Shark and Dr. Mindfuck in a tag team match against what was it, Knock Knock?
Okay, yeah.
I don't know why Shark and Mindfuck, but that would just be. I just think that their interactions would be funny.
It depends on what. If you go and Axel the Shark, or would you go Sharkman or Blood Red Shark?
I'd have to go Blood Red Shark.
It'd be funny if it was Axel the Shark, mate. You weren't here for Axel the Shark, were you?
No, that was before my time.
He was goofy. He was like
then
Ultimo America.
I'd go that route.
Ultimo America, you know?
Yeah, I'd have to go that route then.
He was definitely goofy.
I would say Dark Star and Scarecrow.
Nice.
What's that, 3 matches now?
Yeah, you're up to 3.
I'm also trying to remember some old characters.
Do you know, I'm going to pitch
what was the feud that...
I want to pitch one to you.
Okay.
It's about you anyway. So what about... Do you remember Chase Hero?
No.
There's a character called Chase Hero. It might have been before your time. He was basically, long blonde hair, wore like light blue trousers with like the Superman logo on because he was like Chase Hero. He was supposedly a hero. Chase Hero versus Red Wing in a battle of someone who wants to be a hero and someone who is a hero. I'd like to see that, but this is my interview, I know, and I'm intervening, but I thought you may have known of Chase Hero. I thought it might have been in your time, but maybe not.
That sounds like before my time. What was that feud with Jensen Kunsten that you guys talked about? That was like his Raven and Dreamer feud.
You just called him Jensen Kunsten, which is brilliant.
Well,
Jensen Kunsten and Dick TR. Ask me again, because when you said Kunsten, I lost everything you said and just thought, what a cunt.
Well, what was the feud you guys were talking about between him and the Raven and Dreamer style feud you guys had in OSW?
That was Jensen Kunsten and DTR. You were here for the end of that, I know that much.
I would do that one just for that legacy.
Just for one last time. One more match.
Yeah.
You'd Christian it, basically.
One more match.
One more match. What have you got?
Chief versus Butcher.
Oh, I get some love on this show. How about some of that?
I had to give you some.
I'm so glad to have brought the Chief back because I really love and miss the character. I know it's a short-term thing for the story that I'm running now, but I just love the Chief so much. I'm trying I'll be honest with you, I haven't loved a character of mine in terms of like Fedhead character at all. I didn't like Errol Flint. I didn't like Lance Norman much. In IWF, didn't really like Errol Flint very much either. But I really did like the Chief. I really like the Chief. So
I'm a nostalgic guy. I like the Chief just because he was the guy running the place when I first showed up.
Yeah, the Butcher's getting up there for me in terms of lore and how much I really like him and everything. But I don't think there's ever going to be a character for me, a Fedhead character for me, that is ever going to be what the Chief was. And that long live the Chief. That I just love that man. It's crazy. But okay, so moving on before we end up in basically a love fest for the Chief. Let's have a look. I'm trying to pick up the questions I think are really good. Kind of answered that one. So yeah, Red Wing is the last man standing from Shadow Force, or the Vindicators. He was in the Vindicators too, wasn't he?
Yep.
I'm not sure if that's what he means, but
I remember pitching you that idea a little bit.
When it comes to the Vindicators or Shadow Force, could you see? We've kind of been asked the question already, so I'm trying to think about framing it in a different way and putting a different spin on it. But let's look at the Vindicators with I think was it Beringer, Spiro, Troy Solveig, Red Wing, and who else was it? Was there someone else?
There was the reporter character.
Oh yeah, okay. We'll forget about him for a minute. Game Boy. There you go, Game Boy. That was the other main. Was he?
I can't remember if he was Vindicators or Shadow Force.
I don't remember Shadow Force actually. I remember Vindicators, but I don't really remember Shadow Force.
Yeah, Vindicators were together until Troy's turn, and then they kind of rebranded themselves to try and separate from their connections with Troy.
So Shadow Force was born out of the Vindicators, was it?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't realize that, or I did and I forgot, which could be. Going back to that story, did you see that coming? Did you see Troy turning on the Vindicators? Did you see that angle coming, or did you think that you guys would have stayed together until the bitter end?
I didn't see that twist coming, and not him turning on everybody. I think that was one of my own personal first, like, what the hell is going on here?
I enjoyed doing that one, in fairness. I really did enjoy that because I also tied that in because Lena wasn't really, I think, enjoying or doing too well as wild card. Tying that into Troy also killing him and taking his form as well. And then I love the fact that nobody realized that Mr. Knot was actually Loki, because if you look up Loki on Wikipedia, you'll find that his name actually means like knots and things like that.
Yeah.
So it was all very, really well done. But I don't think getting Troy to that point where he was Loki, Mr. Knot, wild card, and having turned on the Vindicators, I don't think he takes that level of a character if he doesn't have the Vindicators and if he doesn't turn on the Vindicators. I think that was a group that really did, as a vehicle, push him and Beringer too, and Spiro and you, and pushed everyone forward. I feel like a lot of groups, when they occur in OSW, don't last very long. They're there, but they're not. Do you think the Vindicators is one that should be remembered more often and more frequently than it probably is?
Oh, again, I want to be a little bit selfish, but I think that was expected from some people. I would have loved to see the Vindicators continue on. It's our version of the Justice League, but I think the Vindicators would be a lot more fun in the current volume with the way the stories have been compared to when they were there, because this season seems to have a lot more ground in terms of regular kind of normal people crime.
Yeah.
Whereas they were kind of thrusted into this war of gods and everything. Still fun, but I think it would have been really cool to see them now versus then.
Do you do you see? There's obviously parallels between OSW and comic books.
Yeah.
Is there a moment in OSW history that you think is basically taken right out of a comic book? It could just go in a comic book so easily. Any moment in OSW history do you have in your mind where you've read it and thought, "Wow, this would have made a great comic book story that I would have read"?
Everything going on with Alton Whitlock and Two-Face lately. Like, if they were ever to revamp, Harvey Dent, I think the Alton Whitlock story would really work well nowadays with the origin for Two-Face.
I'm looking forward to elaborating on that. I will admit. It's probably no surprise that I know that story because I wrote it, so I know where that goes. So I'm actually kind of proud and pleased that you would like the Alton Whitlock story, and you think that it could make a Two-Face sort of comic. So that's quite nice. I think. Okay, I'll ask that one last. If OSW was adapted into a comic book, who would you want to write it or draw it?
There's so many people that would do so good in terms of writing and drawing OSW. But I'd have to go with easily my favorite team of Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, who wrote and drew the New 52 Batman stories in Dark Knight's Metal and Dark Knight's Death Metal and stuff. They just have a phenomenal chemistry, those two.
Okay. Here's the funny one. Quebec, yay or nay?
Nay.
Why nay?
Because I live in Ontario, and it's natural to give Quebec a hard time.
Oh, mate. I don't know.
There we go. That's the reaction I was looking for.
I've always wondered how much Mate understands what we're saying. Like, does he have Google Translate on as we speak? I wonder. And what does it come back with? Because it must come back with some shit.
In all honesty, though, I've been to Quebec. It's a really nice province. And
it's just full of Frenchies. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, he's French.
Quebec's nice, and it would be nicer if it didn't have a bunch of French idiots in it. I mean, this is Chris saying this, mate, not me.
I remember a classmate. She accidentally bumped into a guy while we were walking around old Quebec City. And this guy just went off on her in French, and he just kind of looked at her like, yeah, whatever.
Avec moi, c'est moi, motherfucker, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and she was just kind of, yeah, okay, whatever. And we just continued on.
I literally know no French. Wait. I think I got some. Je m'appelle Dean. I think that's my name is Dean.
Yeah.
Right?
For what little French I was taught, that's all I remember.
What was? Oh, man, I'm trying to think of some colors. I used to know some colors, but I'm lost. Sorry, mate. There's no chance that we ever turn French for you, buddy. Sorry. There's more chance of us converting you to English fully, and you'll be walking around French Quebec, speaking English, and everyone will be looking at you like, "Take away that baguette from that man." And you'll never eat a baguette in French Canada ever again. I don't understand how there's a French Canada. I've got to admit, I'm a little lost on that, Chris. Can you fill me in?
It's Canadian history. Ontario was Upper Canada. Quebec was Lower Canada. England kicked France's ass and claimed the territory. And as a little gesture of being nice, we gave them their own little province.
Right.
And ever since then, they've been trying to separate from Canada.
So are you saying that is it Canada's fault that French Canada exists, or is it England's fault that French Canada exists?
Well, since we didn't confederate until the 1860s, I'm blaming the English.
Oh, okay. So it's our fault that you have Frenchies in Canada.
Yep.
Whose fault was it that you have bacon, maple syrup, and Canadian bacon? Is Canadian bacon any different than normal bacon? I don't understand that either.
It's called pea meal bacon. It's just where we cut the pig for the bacon.
Poor piggies.
But no, regular bacon is better bacon.
I used to love, by the way, whenever I'm a fan of Lance Storm, by the way. Hence the name Lance Norman. I always used to love, when I was in real handle defense back in the day, I always used to have somebody play someone like Lance Storm. I'd always try and get a Lance Storm on the roster. I would love to see a Canadian bad guy in OSW at some point. Just somebody, we had one in the IWF, just somebody who's like, wears the Canadian tights, runs around the Canadian flag and is a proper asshole, and that whole thing, don't blame Canada, blame yourself. And every promo is him thinking nothing is as good as Canada and explaining why. I would just love it. I would just love it. Dancing more on Lance Storm doesn't exist. The only Lance Storm that exists is the WCW Lance Storm, where he just seemed to win everything. That is the only Lance Storm in my mind that exists. Can I be serious for a minute? That sort of Lance Storm, that's the only one. I like that. Where he used to come out to the ring in OSW. I said, let me be serious for a minute. And he was monotone and boring, and the fans fucking hated him, and I loved him because the fans hated him, so I naturally loved him because I thought he was doing a really good job. I thought he was brilliant. So
what did you think of him with that little rat tail he had in ECW?
To be honest with you, I'm not someone who knew a lot about ECW. When I got into wrestling and I was watching wrestling as a kid, ECW wasn't something I ever knew of because it wasn't easy for me to access. Being British as well, you got to think I'm British, so ECW is much easier for Americans and Canadians, I think, to access than it would be for British people. So I knew of WCW and I knew of WWF, but not ECW, not until a little bit later.
The only reason I know about the rat tail is because the DVD for ECW One Night Stand 2, it came with Barely Legal on DVD. They're for ECW's first pay-per-view.
Ah, okay.
And they had RVD versus Lance Storm on it, and he had a little rat tail.
A little rat tail. I'll be honest with you, when I walk around the street now and I see those knobheads with, like, they've got like that little man bun, but it's not really a proper man bun. It's just like they've grabbed a bit of hair and chucked a hairband on it. I really want to cut it off with a pair of scissors.
Yeah, they deserve it.
So you can imagine where I stand on a rat tail.
I don't blame you. He looked ridiculous with it.
Right? I would seriously love to go cutting those off people. I've seen a couple of videos where people did it to people, and I'm normally like, oh man, that's not cool. But in those videos, I'm like, yeah, fucking cut it off, throw it in the bin, burn it, slap him in the face with it. Like, really piss the cunt off. That's what he gets for being such a mongoloid.
Oh, poor Damo.
Has Damo got one? Oh, he had one. Oh, Damo. Damie, baby. All right, so we know who's dying first in Among Us this weekend.
Yep.
It's Rat Tail Boy. You're not doing yourself favours, Dame. Crikey. What is your malfunction, my friend, to have a rat tail? I could never do it. Not that I could grow it that anyway. My hair grows up and out like Marge Simpson.
Yeah, I've tried to grow my hair out and it just doesn't work.
I mean, I'm a metalhead, man, so I'd love it if my hair grew like down to my shoulders or something, but it doesn't.
Same here.
It just doesn't. Absolutely doesn't. It literally grows up and out like Marge Simpson, so I've got like an Afro Marge. So I just ended up cutting it off now. Well, it used to grow like that, but then I got old.
Okay, I want to see you with an afro now.
Because I got high. That'll be me, I'll tell you. So you're at work in the moment, aren't you?
Yep. but everyone's left, so it's all
Working
quiet.
hard or hardly working? We don't need you to answer that. We already know the answer. It's fine. We got it.
Hardly working.
Mm-hmm. Just his giant ginger afro, says Zach. So Damon said he had a mullet and his mum made him cut it off and into a rat tail. Well, if that's not a reason for emancipation, I'm not sure what is.
Oh, that hurts.
I think I tried. You got Lee there saying that he had the short, bleached, Slim Shady look in like middle school. I actually did have the Slim Shady look for a little while, where I went blonde, but not well, because you have to like peroxide it to get the Eminem style.
I used to have the old boy band frosted tips going on.
Oh, fuck off! You didn't.
I did way back in the late 90s, and that was all popular.
Dude, you must look like a fucking NSYNC band member. What the fuck?
I'm actually very thankful that I was in elementary school long before social media, and I missed all of that because that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But then again, I was 9-10 years old. I didn't know any better.
Christopher Bieber in the house.
No.
The Backstreet Boys.
Okay, the Backstreet Boys isn't so bad, but no Bieber. Don't do that to me.
Backstreet Bieber, maybe? Can we bring these together? So before we
go back to making fun of Lemon on a Pear.
Lemon on a Pear. Whoa, lemon on a pear. Great times those. Thing is, that band that started before we even really knew you that well, because that was quite early, I think, into your OSW tenure.
That had to be that first summer,
right? And you took it well, and I wondered how, because I really ragged you for it in the chat.
Yeah, because I just did not connect those two.
A lemon on a pear to living on a prayer.
Yeah.
And the lyrics even said on the advert, oh, and then it showed a lemon on a pear, and you were like, I don't get it. I was like, lemon on a pear, and you're like, no, I don't get it.
I was completely lost.
It's like living on a prayer, lemon on a pear, oh, and you're like, no, I don't get it. And I was like, fucking Chris.
I love good puns. I just
don't get them.
Could not get there. But as soon as you pointed it out, I think I left a dent in the desk from how hard my head hit it.
So you should have. I would say knock some sense into you, but I'm not sure it's possible. I'm not.
No, I knocked that out long ago because I used to. When I was younger, I had
frosted tips. It explains a lot.
I used to take the tin lid off of those Belgian cookies, and I used it like a steel chair when I would wrestle my stuffed animals. I would bash myself in the head with it.
We're getting a lot of answers to a lot of questions here tonight, Chris.
Yes.
Like, the main question is, what is your malfunction? And we now know that you used to beat yourself in the head with a metal tin lid. Things are coming up Millhouse for us tonight.
Yeah, getting a lot of answers to a lot of the reasons why I am the way that I am.
So you're joining creative team soon. Next cycle.
Sorry?
You're joining the creative team soon for the next cycle of storylines.
Yep.
What do you think? How you feeling?
I'm nervous because just that segment that I sent you, I was thinking like, how does he want me to do this, or what is he looking for? And then I just hammered it out with, an American guy named after a dog and just pissing off a French dude, which turns out to be very easy.
I think you have to bear in mind that being new to the creative team and the writing aspect of that, what I'll probably do is I'll probably give you a storyline for the month. It will feed into Pandemonium, so it won't have a payoff, because the payoff will sort of be them potentially fighting in the Lambs and Slaughter match.
Yeah.
So you'll probably write that, and for the first month, I'll probably give you a rough direction of what I want you to do to make it easier for you, because no one's expecting you to come in on creative and write some full-blown classic in your first month. No one's expecting that. But you could come into creative, get told a general direction of what I want, and then achieve it. And then feel more confident about going on and creating your own stuff. You know?
Because I've been thinking about it. I think it was the last 2 or 3 times you mentioned, hey, we need creative people. Like, I should try it, but I'm not sure.
Well, the thing
and then
is,
you just kind of went, here, just do it anyway.
If you suck, let's say you suck and you're awful. You know me, I'm gonna politely tell you that maybe it's not working out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm never gonna let you write your ass off for no reason, because that's not fair. You know, but at the same time, it isn't difficult to get. All you need to do is look at the writing style of the show, look at the way that segments are written and formatted. You know, when it comes to the quotation marks and the text, and then the continuation of sort of scene description and things like that. The way things are written, you get there. It won't take long. You'll get there, and you and Matt both don't really have to be too worried. The first month will be a bedding in period. You'll find out more about what it's like. You'll find out how to use the code for the website, and you'll have your own little creative section in the website. You get all the passwords and everything. It'll be really cool. You'll get to learn all that, and then when you're comfortable, you go at it yourself. And like Rob just said, you can't do any worse than Short getting chainsawed half to death. Because
that was a phenomenal segment.
No, it wasn't. And the the instructions
it was phenomenal in its stupidity.
Yeah, because the instructions I gave Rob didn't say in any way kill him with a fucking chainsaw. I said I wanted Short to die. I think I actually said I want Short to die to get over Terror Squad. Or, you know, to get
Well, he
over.
definitely died.
Oh, yeah, he definitely fucking died. I went back to Rob after. I was like, what the actual fuck, Rob? Seriously, what the fuck? It's gone down in history as one of those moments that everybody loves. But when I read it, in that moment, I think I could have probably slapped Rob in the face. In that moment, I think I could have probably planted a nut on him and was like, "What the fuck are you doing, Robbie, son? Honestly, what the fuck is going on?"
I like what Zach just said. He should have had everyone come down just to take their piece out of Short for no reason.
Didn't they burn him as well after they chainsawed him? And then they set him on fire or some shit as well.
I think so. I know there was some point. I think there was a shopping cart involved.
There was nothing left of him by the end of the fucking segment. I was like, yeah, use the segment to get Terror Squad over. Oh yeah, you got Terror Squad over. They look like a bunch of fucking chainsaw massacre wielding maniacs by the end of it. Oh man, bless Rob. Gotta love Rob. What a legend.
Yeah.
It's a moment that won't be forgotten. Even Lee's like, right, I want to read the scene now. What show was it on?
I don't blame him.
even my, I think even like the live show reaction to that scene, it was incredible. Was it Mike Lane that read it? I think Lena might have read it. I can't remember. I think Lena might have read it, and I'm like, yep, that isn't what I asked to happen. That isn't what I asked for.
Well, it was. He just went to the extreme of what you asked for.
Man, it wasn't anywhere near it. I was like, yeah, have him take him out. Have him kill him. And Robbie's like, right, okay, yeah, I got this, bro. Sit down. Sit the fuck down, Dean. I've got this. Went to it.
I don't think I've seen that over-the-top death in a comic book. And they can do some pretty over-the-top stuff there.
You won't see it anywhere. I'm not sure what Rob was doing. I think he was high. I think he was sniffing glue or something. I don't fucking know what he was doing. One of those moments, I have a few of them. I remember reading, I think Lester's in the chat as well, reading a Cody, Lester wrote a match for me. And like they were in the ring 1 minute or something, and then they were like fucking on the entrance ramp. It's like they just mysteriously just vanished and appeared there from one sentence to the next or something like that. And even reading that, I was like, and what the fuck is this? Doesn't make any fucking sense. These things can break you on stream when you read them. I've got the 82 Wrestling Classic this weekend after we do Among Us.
Yep.
Thankfully, I'm going to get to see all the segments before I put them in the show. But you know that if an Alex Clark segment makes it into the show, I'm probably going to piss myself laughing. and I'm probably going to have to say things on camera that I don't want to. Same with Dawson. You know Dawson's going to get me talking about Dick Fury and Big Dick Fury and all this sort of stuff on stream. You know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
If
we don't get kicked off, I think we should be happy with the small group that we have, because we're never going to get noticed by Twitch's algorithms to kick us off.
Lester says, I had a word count, okay. What you should say, Lester, is at least I didn't kill anybody with a chainsaw, Dean. At least everybody had their heads and weren't on fire by the end of the match. I mean, that works out all right.
And Zach's right, we did survive Junkrat's promos.
Oh, but didn't Junkie do a segment that also broke Lena at some point?
I think that was during Funhouse.
Was that during? He did. He just said he had to read him during. It is fun. It is fun breaking Lena. Yeah. It's not something I want to see happen, but it's fun. Like I don't want it to be like every 2 minutes. But Sammy likes to break him with the near falls in matches, thinking it's the end. So Sammy always takes a Luke Storm main event just to try and break him a little bit.
It's worth it.
Oh my god! I'm not looking forward to seeing a Cotton Eye Joe segment in my inbox and then have to decide whether or not it goes into the show, because we all know what Alex Clark could potentially say in a segment.
You give him 5 minutes with a comedy character, and it's just going to be the end of us.
Right, it is. I mean, if there's a cancel us somewhere, then it'll be all right. Let's cancel these motherfuckers. It's done. It's over. Fucking hell. I don't know. All right, Chris. So, without derailing any further, fuck off. No, I'm only kidding. What would you say to any potential writers out there, handlers out there, or just people that like the idea of creative, competitive writing? What would you say to convince them to join OSW?
First of all, I'd say don't take anything here seriously. Win-loss. It's a game. Come in to have fun. That's more important than anything else coming in here. And come with a character you're going to want to write for a long time. And yes, as Mike Lane said, take deadlines seriously. Which thankfully has never been a problem for me.
No, in fairness, it hasn't ever been a problem for you, has it?
Nope. I know there was one time where you brought Michael Graves back randomly, and I was saying, like, I got no idea what I'm doing. And he just said, just write something.
Yeah. Hold on a minute.
And then
Sorry, I'm going to have 2 seconds. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so fucking Cody Lester has found the segment. I think I'm going to have to read it, Chris. What do you reckon?
Go for it.
All right, guys. So the segment's called Saved, and it happens at ringside. What a match between Tyler Brooks and Short. The Savior has done it, and he's relishing in the victory. It looks like he wants a mic. Thank you, old school faithful, for cheering on your Savior, but as much as I'd rather be speaking to you, I have a few words I need to say to Short. So, you wanted me to save myself, right? Well, I did it, you son of a bitch. I'm saved. Tyler rolls out of the ring and grabs a chair. Now, what about you? I said, what about you? How do you say it, Short? Right? Save yourself? Short is getting up slowly to protect himself, but Tyler has other plans. He throws a chair at Short's head, and Short looks completely out of it. Tyler grabs him by the hair and drags Short to the corner. The Savior is untying the bottom turnbuckle. He's fully exposed it, and he's tying Short's hair in the steel ring to keep him there. He grabs a chair and starts swinging. Chair shot after chair shot, and a pool of blood is building under Short's head. Tyler Brooks isn't done. He rests the chair against Short and goes to the other side of the ring. He climbs the top rope and nails a coast-to-coast dropkick. Short is out cold, and he'll stay that way unless someone can save him. Tyler Brooks is standing over him. I'm the Savior, but there is no chance in hell I'm saving you. In fact, I'm making sure no one can. Tyler does a come here motion towards the back. Hayden Hardcore comes out, and he has a shopping cart full of barbed wire. Cody Williams follows him, and he has a chainsaw in hand.
That's an escalation right there.
Just a fucking all right then. Terror Squad is here, and Brooks is rubbing his hands together, smirking. You wanted me to save myself, so I did it on my own to destroy you. I brought backup. Tyler rips Shorts off the turnbuckle, leaving chunks of hair on the ring. He throws him to the outside, and Cody drags him to the ring post. Hayden charges with a cart. He smashes Short's skull between the ring post and the cart. Cody pulls Short up. He's got a single underhook. He lifts Short up. Brainbuster's a wrestler move in here. Perfect ending into the cart. Short's head must be like a hole after that drop into the barbed wire. Hayden climbs the top rope. He jumps. Moonsault into a Swanton Bomb, the flying Kiwi. All of his weight drives Short more into the barbed wire. Short has to be done, but they aren't. Cody grabs Short's lacerated head, rips it out of the barbed wire, and rests it on the ledge of the cart. He grabs the chainsaw. He's revving it up. Oh shit! He's decapitating Short with the chainsaw. He's almost all the way through, but the cart stops him. Short is nearly headless, and Cody backs up. He charges, running knee strike to rip it off the remaining skin. If he wasn't dead before, he definitely is now. But they aren't finished. Okay,
This is amazing. Even the second time through, this is amazing.
Hayden grabs some gasoline from under the ring and douses Short's body. Tyler has a lighter. He flicks it and starts to set Short's body aflame. Short's flesh is roasting, and Terror Squad are warming their hands on it like a campfire. I'm fucking done. There's just nothing else I can say. Oh, fucking crying. I'm fucking crying. Oh, Jesus fuck.
Lee loves it, as it should be. That's a segment to be loved.
Oh, I'm taking a drink of water. He basically got his head chopped off, then they set him on fire and used him as a fucking campfire.
I knew there was a shopping cart somewhere in that segment.
Fucking hell, I think Rob was pissed off with life when he wrote that.
Oh, there had to be something going on.
All right, Chris. Well, I think I'll wrap this up, buddy.
Sounds good.
I hope you've enjoyed the interview, mate.
Oh, that was fun.
Really glad to have you on the roster. Really glad for you to
Really glad to be around. I enjoy being around. It's a lot of fun.
You hear a lot of banter from Chris in the chat. Don't mistake it for ego. It never is. It's always just in good spirited fun.
I'm not even like that in real life. I'm a really laid back dude.
Oh wait, Rob's there. I wish this was the result of alcohol. I might have been pissed that the guy flaked whilst I was writing his first story. That could be it, Rob. Or maybe you were high, or maybe you were stupid. But I love you, dude. That was fantastic. It's gone down in history as the worst segment ever and the best segment ever at the same time.
It's the worst, best segment ever.
That's it. The worst, best segment ever. All right, Chris. Well, is there anything you'd like to say or sign off with before we end the interview tonight? Is there anything you'd like to say?
No, I think I've said all that I have to say.
Okay. Well then, guys, thanks for joining us. What we did is we did an extra interview 2 days in a row, mostly because I was meant to do one a month, every day for a month or so. Well, not every day for a month, sorry, once a month, and I'd been slacking with a few of those. So we caught up, managed to rock out with Zach yesterday and Chris today, and then we'll have another one for April. So make sure you join us for that. More importantly, though, this weekend, Saturday, from 9 p.m, I will be streaming more than likely Among Us with a big group of us playing with some great modifications. Come and watch. It will be brilliant. If you don't come and watch that, then at midnight there will be the 82 Wrestling Classic. It's going to be amazing. I hope you love the story I've got planned. I hope you love the scenes everyone's writing and sending in. and I hope you love the matches. It should be brilliant. Chris is on that show. He will be the Terrier.
Terrier Jack Russell.
Jack Russell. I created the name and I still forgot it. The Terrier, Jack Russell. And he'll be facing his good Quebecian friend, mate, in the match. So don't miss it. Join us this weekend on Saturday night. Before then, though, I will be streaming. I'll be streaming a game called Adventure Pals, which is a lot of fun. It's a platformer. I might do some COD, I might do some Apex. Please do come along, have a chat, chill out with me for a little while. Really do appreciate all your support. And I will see you then. Chris, once again, mate, thank you very much.
No problem, thank you.
And I'll speak to you in the sidebar shortly. So take it easy.
Sounds good, take it easy.
Okay. Catch you guys later.